Alright, hello there, YouTube. It has been so long since my past video, recording the voice, speaking, talking. Um, it's been years, man. There's been a lot of talk going around about Mario Kart World, and that's basically why I'm doing this video for sure. So is a bit of envy towards Nintendo, people who do know what's going on, and a mix of underestimation. Nintendo was always the company that went ahead and basically made systems that had less technology in them compared to competitors like Sony, Microsoft, and people somewhat got accustomed to that, but people are not. I think people really are forgetting that, a lot of money could have been saved in those past years since GameCube, less technology. Nintendo made a huge leap. It's like somebody was pacing at the end of the race, and like the entire race basically, and then at the end of the race just started using that saved up energy and they're like pumping towards first place. Like that's exactly what Nintendo is doing here. And this recent talk between Sega and Nintendo about, oh, Mario Kart is slow and but we recently had 200cc in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Who's to say this game isn't getting DLC? Maybe some sort of um, F-Zero, Captain Falcon. We recently had some, I think is a sort of F-Zero spin-off that was made for Nintendo Switch Online users. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let me try to focus while talking. Like I really haven't done this in years. So, but yeah. So a lot is going on that I'm sure too many people might not practically have understood, and I really just want to talk about that. There's a lot I need to speak about here because this is really serious. Think about the money is going in this. First off, this might sound like nerd talk at the beginning, but I would explain it for those who don't know what these terms mean. If you have a screen that you hear all of this talk like recently about a video game like show at like 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, stuff like that, right? And basically there's a technology that has been, I think, around since the 2010s, and it basically forces whatever screen to generate to project at the perfect frame rate. So there's no screen tearing, no screen lag, nothing. The Nintendo Switch 2, like the screen itself, I'm not talking about when it shows on TV, has that technology. It's called VRR, variable refresh rate, and it basically causes the gameplay to look like extra smooth. So like only a few games use it. I don't think all of them use it, but Nintendo went ahead, like, I don't know who deals with the, no offense, I don't know who deals with the public, like, advertising and stuff for Nintendo, but they were saying, oh, it's gonna have VRR and handheld on TV. It's impossible for a system to kind of force a TV to have VRR when the TV doesn't even have the specs to have VRR. Think about it, right? That's something that the system itself has. I played the Persona 3 Reload, just had a demo launched publicly for Nintendo Switch 2 just the other day, and I am quite sure that thing has to be using VRR. It is so smooth in handheld, it is crazy. So I'm telling myself, man, this is it. This is them getting people to be more accustomed. People are complaining and saying, oh, it's like 30 FPS is really slow, 30 frames per second. Not quite. Variable refresh rate is like the game projects. The system itself has 120 frames, and those 120 frames as the initial frame rate the system can get to. So some games maybe have a very low refresh rates of maybe up to like 60 frames or something like that, and it's not capped at 30 frames. It definitely does not seem that way, but I don't know if they're going easy on us or yeah. A lot of the talk though, people are going back to Mario Kart 8. I guess maybe is a lot to do with like being able to afford, because really truly Mario Kart 8 has been out for a while. It has all the DLC already. It has all the features. It has a music player, everything. Mario Kart World just launched on a new system, so I guess people that want more content for the buck, they're playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But this is still a really nice game. I mean, you could vault off walls. You could rewind your cart in air. You could basically do infinite flips and stunts. You can do this. Well, not the lightning, sorry. But you can basically do this, hold your ZR and launch for boosts. When you do that in water, then you'll kind of descend. Sorry. You'll kind of descend and you'll be able to get like a boost every time you launch back from the water. It's like really nice. So the Mario Kart 8 has 200cc, and 200cc is like way faster than 50 and stuff like that. So I'm still kind of confused. Why would Sony be attempting to even compete with what is going on here? This system has really fast a really fast CPU on its own. Is not perfectly on par with PS5, but it's up there, right, guys? And not only that, it has VRR handheld. A lot of people would rather buy a Switch 2 right now than buy some sort of, I don't know, like jet sounding big bulky system to put in their house. They can't take it with them. It has to be on the TV. So the stock trade, the value, everything for Nintendo is going to go up in the air, and a lot of people just are going to have Switch 2s in their houses. And the ports that are going to be launching too as well, you're going to be using these games in HD and handheld mode, not just TV. Everything above 60 frames. So people are really I don't know if it's some form of unique protection on Nintendo's this sort, because any company that has been going middle tier for the longest while and then all of a sudden goes top tier in quality, that's like a sudden shock to the system, right? So imagine somebody who always bought Nintendo systems and you're a huge Nintendo fan, and then all of a sudden the company launches this system that's quite a bit more expensive. The games aren't launching because development is going to take a lot longer for games of this quality, just so that they have the quality you'll be expecting on a system like this. And people are complaining, but they're not thinking about the fact that Nintendo is doing this for the first time and is doing so well, to be honest. Like, the launch games aren't terrible. The performance is awesome. A lot of systems, especially PS4, PS5, I'm comparing to them because they're the ones who pushed like Blu-ray quality and all this 4K and stuff years back. They launched with like so much flaws and issues. Nintendo has always been keeping the pace, and I respect that. It's genius, even. Is freaking genius, because the technology is pretty much like perfected and you just scoop it up. They jumped the bar here compared to what people usually like to say about Nintendo is like the Vita system and this and the third and the fourth, and not the Switch 2. Another thing I wanted to speak on with this VRR, people quite aren't understanding. I don't think most TVs are, it's like, imagine, like I said close to the beginning of this video, you have people in a race and there's somebody who's pacing at the back of the race, right? Saving their energy for the last stretch. Let's say that person is Nintendo. So all these years, Microsoft, Sony, everybody else, they're pushing their money, building systems with like a lot of technical specs, and they're focusing on their specs. I mean, Sony had Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Not saying those games didn't launch even recently, but the focus on first party kind of suffered. Sony had too much video games recently that do not belong to Sony. I mean, think about it. We recently had FC26, Street Fighter 6, Cyberpunk 2077 is on, and it runs beautifully in handheld even. So think about it, people. It's just common sense. You have someone who's been pacing for years. Their systems focused mostly on their own characters, their own stories. Nintendo is best known for its characters and stories. Mario, Yoshi, Pokemon, The Legend of Zelda. I can go on and on and on. Star Fox. Imagine a Star Fox on Switch 2, people. Right? Exactly. So is anybody who doubts Nintendo right now is either ignorant, lacking that knowledge, or just damn crazy. Like, seriously. So another thing also, it hasn't been obvious to a lot of people, and this isn't something that I think I should just go around blatantly, like, because it's kind of sensitive information still yet, I would say, but I'm not confirming it. I'm just saying, suppose I do know. Nintendo Switch 2 launched in June, right? And when you carefully look at it, like if you're somebody who knows about copyright and trademarking and stuff like that, that isn't the case now, but right when the Nintendo Switch 2 launched, we had these things going on about Donald Trump and these tariffs, and people were like afraid what would happen to the economy, like yada 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 yada. Believe it or not, I'm telling you, people, Nintendo launched the Switch 2 kinda early compared to what they were planning. It was supposed to launch in December, and by that time then Mario Kart World would have had a few more like DLC options. Donkey Kong Bonanza would have been a much bigger game. A lot of the titles that we got, Street Fighter 6 and stuff, would have been perfected by then. We would have gotten a year 1, 2, and 3 pack. You have the pack now for 3. It would have been Street Fighter 6 1, 2, 3 edition out. Think of that. That sounds really cool, doesn't it? They had a lot of plans, and then Trump came along with this tariff thing, and they were like, whoa, 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 we gotta do something here, man. We have like queues, like economy queues, like systems waiting to be shipped and stuff like that, and if we launch too late, we could actually lose out on our profit margin that we were expecting to go for. That's Nintendo talking, imagine, right? In their office or whatever the hell, it could be in their house. And let's say that's Nintendo talking, and you obviously have other companies like Sega, and then like Atlas by itself and stuff like that. Now, some companies would agree with Nintendo and say, alright, yeah, we're gonna launch early with you, we're gonna work ahead of time to see if we can get our titles to go on. Sega said, not for shit. I'm not doing it. Sega was like, alright, yeah, so whenever your system launches, we're just gonna wait for the original agreement that we planned. Alright, guys? So that's another something. We have some games that launched on other titles, and then people are like buying Switch 2s, going home all excited and like, wait, why does the game look like this? Like, oh my god, what is this? Because they're buying Switch 1 titles. They're buying Nintendo Switch 1 titles, expecting Switch 2 quality, and the Switch 2 quality update isn't coming out until December for that Sonic Racing Cross Worlds that recently came out. So yeah. So here looking at my my device, my capture device, and it's like, I think the capture device right now is running at FHD. Well, the frame rates are slightly off. You know, the phone can't display the same second that, what is it? Camera tech. But I was just trying to play from the voice just now, and I just remembered, oh shit, I should be looking at TV. But yeah, it's like people got messed up. It's similar to, in fact, COVID is what caused all this in the first place, right? All these shifts in the economic narrative. Let me whisper. All these shifts in the economy and stuff like that. So that's like there's also me wondering how it, because this is actually some unique technology here. This TV happens to be using. You could upscale to 4K. You could do any shit with your display, and there's something that goes on with video video footage. The edges of like 3D models and stuff get like edgy, and things you can literally look at the screen and tell there's a video game or something, because the like look at this freaking trophy, guys, in this video that I'm making for you, right? The outlines of the trophy, everything happens to be, you're not seeing any edging at all, right? What system do you usually expect this from? It's called ray tracing or something. That's PS5, Nintendo Switch 2. It might not be a thing yet. Also, VRR on all TVs might be possible, but then the system itself will have to be projecting and encoding the video while it's playing, and that's possible. But suppose Nintendo is working on that, and your TV won't be doing the VRR, the Switch 2 itself will be doing the VRR and projecting it then to the TV. Doesn't that sound cool? But really and truly, VRR is supposed to be something that the screen itself does, and it's crazy to think about a system that will be able to, do VRR in its system coding itself. That's really dang awesome. So all this nerd talk aside and stuff, do not underestimate the Nintendo Switch 2. Buy a Nintendo Switch 2 if you haven't and you're thinking about it. Get one. You would regret not getting one, possibly by the end of this year. If things play out how I think they possibly can, grab a Switch 2, people. The Switch 2 was selling out like hotcakes when it launched, because a lot of people are smart enough to know what's going on. Having a Switch 2 in your home is very, very, very advantageous right now. A system like this, handheld, you can play it in your hand. It's very quick. People are complaining about the battery, but I had this thing since June, and this battery is awesome for what this system does. Grab a Switch 2. Amazing quality. The screen itself, when you're playing handheld, has VRR, people. So think about that. Reload is gorgeous, man. Persona 3 Reload is gorgeous. Got me stuttering and shit in handheld mode. And Street Fighter 6, it downscales a bit, but the input is fluent. It downscales a bit in handheld mode. It's gorgeous on television, but it's still pretty in handheld. Imagine that's something that launched on PS5. People, Nintendo is not playing. It's just Nintendo had a few holdbacks, and the Nintendo haters do not want to admit that this is the fact here. So, like, comment, subscribe. Do not underestimate Nintendo, people. Get a Switch 2 if you do not have one. This it is common sense and stuff to just know that these things are worth it to have in a house. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Enjoy.